on to our next topic. It's actually going to be. I guess I have 3 topics. So, but I'm going to save that for the last one. So let's go to your topic, Alan.
All right, so yesterday was the opening ceremonies to the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio, Brazil.
Brazil. Brazil.
I think there has been a lot of build-up to this Olympics, not necessarily about the games themselves, but about the location, which I think is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
For months and months and months, they've been talking about, is Brazil ready? Is the, the population, is it going to be safe for the athletes to go there? There's the Zika virus that's there. Basically, people are really concerned that they don't have the resources and personnel to manage a big event like the Olympics. And on top of all the health concerns for the athletes and just for the general safety of people who want to go view the Olympics, because within the first couple weeks of people going down there, there's been all kinds of reports, people getting mugged, being held up for cash, even athletes being held up for their money. And I think certainly it's, in this day and age, we're going to hear a lot about that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of one thing I wanted to talk about, kind of in the same vein as what we talked about before with, is everything these days more dangerous, or is it just we hear about it because of, the process of information? And I also wanted to ask if past Olympics you guys had a specific favorite or one where you really got into watching the Olympics, and which one, which year, and which summer or winter games that was. So like for me, I'll just say for sure the one that stuck out for me was Nagano Olympics, Winter Olympics, which was 2019 or maybe 2000 and something. But the only reason is because there was a Nintendo 64 game that they made for it, Nagano Winter Games, and it had like the snowboarding segment, and it was amazing. Like it was like almost like its own full game, just the snowboarding part. Like it had like a crap ton of tricks you could do. It had this half pipe, and it had like the freestyle jumps and everything. And I just remember thinking like, holy crap, like Winter Olympics is the most badass thing ever because of snowboarding in it.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of Summer Olympics, to be honest with you. When's the last time the Summer Olympics happened? They're every 4 years, right?
I think every 4 years.
So 2008?
No. 2012.
2012.
Oh, it's not every 4 years Olympics in general. It's every 2 years.
Maybe.
There's is it 2 years or 4 years? Because I thought, and they switch, right? So I thought it was
4 years. I thought it was every 4 years.
So then that would mean last 4 years was this winter, and the 4 years before that was the summer, which would make sense because the last time I remember watching Michael Phelps was when I was in it was before he even got a gig in the industry.
And he's won the gold at Olympics twice already. So this will be his third time.
He's the most decorated American Olympic.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
He's like 22 medals, and he's about to get a ton more.
That's it?
Yeah. How many do you have, Steve?
A couple.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, he looked up into the right.
Lies. Yeah. So I don't know what's actually what's mesmerizing is diving. I really like watching diving.
Really?
Yeah. I just watching like the different spins and stuff, and then the tiny splash. I'm like, damn, that's kind of cool. And then they just do it over and over again.
He's staring at you.
I'm just saying. Volleyball is always fun.
Beach volleyball?
Yeah.
Why do you like it?
The guy version, right?
Yeah, the guy version.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, volleyball is just interesting. It's kind of like tennis, back and forth. It's fun because with every like success, there is more friction and tension and anxiety of when the ball. So who's going to drop the ball and when the spike's going to happen. So that's why tennis is actually kind of fun to watch. Then I think there's actually Summer Olympics also has samurai.
What?
Samurai. What do they call them? Just not samurai. Fuck.
Samurai.
It's not samurai. It's the big.
Definitely not samurai.
It's not. It's the big dudes. Why can't I think of their name?
Sumo?
Yeah, sumo wrestling. They have sumo wrestling.
Gotcha, samurai.
Wow, samurais with armor and swords.
Yeah,
go into a ring.
Definitely draw
Yeah.
a lot. I would definitely watch that. I'm like, why haven't I seen this yet?
Yeah. So wrestling is kind of hard and like just not well communicated. Sumo wrestling is a little bit easier because it's very simple. It's like two big dudes. One dude's got to get out of the circle to lose. Wrestling, there's like weird points, and you're like, who's winning? And it's a collective thing, but it's one at a time, so you don't know who's behind or whatever. Gymnastics is a little bit easier because it's straight up like, oh, they landed well.
Gymnastics is one I probably like remember watching growing up too. Like that was like what Olympics meant to me, was like people doing like gymnastics
I always thought
events and stuff. Like, I always imagined like the rings and like the fucking one where they run and jump off the horse thing.
To be honest with you, I think it just comes down to
like,
whatever America's good at that year, and I think America's had a really great opportunity with gymnastics. That's why it's highlighted. The last one we weren't, right, and it was more about swimming. So the people growing up 8 years ago are gonna think swimming with Olympics. Like we thought gymnastics.
Yeah, right? That's true. Yeah, because like we had so many people. I mean, there was like, and
so
then
I had a question about that because like I was watching the ceremonial and everything like that, and like China had like 415 like applicants or something like that, or athletes, and then you had like some kind of weird name country or something like that had like 15.
Mexico.
Or Mexico. But I had like 15. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, how is that fair? But I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, well maybe they only enter for certain sections, and the more people you have and the more athletes, you can enter for more stuff and possibly win more medals, right?
I don't know why if there's a limit on what you can. I mean, it could just be like, let's say Mexico, for instance, they could just be like, we don't have any good swimmers, so why even try? Like, we're not going to make ourselves look bad, so we'll just hyper focus on the things we're good at. Steve, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm muted because I was yelling for Amber because I wanted to come see the cat real quick.
Oh, okay.
Because he's just staring right into the camera, just like barely peeking. You can see his eyes. Look at the cat.
I was just looking up what all Summer Olympic Games are.
Oh, awesome.
So archery.
Oh shit! I'm gonna watch that. I was just telling Steve I'm looking for a bow.
Badminton is there.
Nope.
Baseball, basketball, boxing.
Oh, basketball's fun.
Cricket is there.
Cricket's pretty cool.
Croquet.
Nope.
Cycling, diving, equestrian stuff, so like all the horses.
Yeah.
Fencing. Football, golf, gymnastics, handball even.
No.
Handball. Field
American
hockey.
football?
Handball?
Oh, handball is.
Handball, yeah.
They call American football handball sometimes, so I thought you were talking about that.
Oh, really? And skateboarding is being added to Tokyo Olympics, which is the following one.
Oh,
the next one.
That's
2020.
awesome.
Don't talk to me until games, like professional gaming, is in the Olympics.
There's been a push for it, actually.
Yeah,
somebody
we've had a topic on that.
Yeah, no, we talked about it. I'm like,
they
about
absolutely should put that in, man.
Yeah.
I mean, get with the times, dude.
Yeah.
Judo, lacrosse, polo.
Actually, summer's not that bad.
Yeah, so summer has like basically all like the popular sports that you would watch just like in a year, like through normal seasons. They seem to have like
winter just has bobsledding and snowboarding
and ice skating and
skiing,
curling.
What's the one where you like go off the top of that thing?
What are some exciting winter Olympic games?
They have a lot of cool ones.
I like all the
runnings,
the half pipe and bobsledding and luge and stuff.
Yeah,
even ice skating I think is kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that. But
that was really pushed in the '90s too, with like Tonya Harding and what's her name?
Yeah.
With the like scandal where she like hired that lady to break her knees, Nancy Kerrigan.
There's a good documentary on that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I can't. Maybe I just need to look at. Let me look at the list because I didn't think summer was that exciting.
Tug of war used to be one from 1900 to 1920.
Wow, that's fairly recent.
Yeah. Well, I think the Summer Olympics have only been going since like the early 1800s, right? Or I mean, late 1800s, right?
No. Wrestling was part of the Olympics all the way back way back in the first part of it. So I would have imagined summer was the original set of Olympics.
Oh yeah, wrestling was 1896. That's That's the only year that it's written down here. Not counting like whatever happened in fucking like Greeks.
Right. Because from what I understand, Olympics started and then they stopped for a long time. and then they got brought back up. But the original one had wrestling as well.
Well, I can't scroll anymore because the cat's on the spacebar. So,
okay, so here's the current sport disciplines: alpine skiing, cross-country skiing, curling, figure skating, freestyle skiing, ice hockey. Ice hockey's pretty cool. Oh, ice hockey's awesome to watch. Skeleton, wherever that is. Nordic combined, ski jumping, snowboarding, speed skating. That's it.
That's it for the Winter Olympics?
That's what I'm reading. Unless I'm wrong. If I'm wrong,
no, there's that cross country shooting where they have to ski cross country, like alpine ski, and then shoot. Bobs. And then shoot also at the end of it.
Huh.
Like they have to ski to different locations and then shoot like a target.
Maybe that's called skeleton. I don't know. Or Nordic combined. I don't know. But I'm not seeing. Oh, there's events within them. So okay, everybody is gone. Everybody has left.
What? No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm just trying to get Friday out of here now.
So while we're waiting for Steve to come back, I also am well aware that Olympics are now being known for the sex villages that show up during when the games end. And here's what we know about the sex that happens in the Olympics. You can have safe sex.
They give you condoms for free.
They give you condoms. So the amount of condoms that they have given out has increased year over year. In Seoul, it was 8,500 condoms. In Barcelona in 92, there was 90,000 condoms. In Atlanta in 96, there was 15,000. In Sydney 2000, there were 70,000 condoms. But halfway through the Olympics, more were needed. So 20,000 were brought in.
Oh my God.
In Athens in 2004, 130,000 condoms were distributed.
Why?
And so I can get into that in a minute, but and then London. Sorry, I'm getting Steve back. In London, 2012, there were 150,000 condoms were doled out to athletes. And I think it's just you have a lot of young, single, beautiful-looking people, and that's just a recipe. And you're also in very exotic places.
I thought like sex was supposed to like affect your performance too, like negatively.
Yeah, so boxers won't have sex before a boxing fight, and that is just to keep that adrenaline running,
testosterone and everything. Like still there,
and I think that might be the case with a lot of these things, but I think the Olympics has many different events. Many different events run on various different time frames and end at very different times, and I think that's what happens.
Right.
Also, Tinder and Grindr can blow up like they do in festivals like Coachella. So there's going to be a lot of dating apps and stuff. There's also a lot of close quarters, so people are going to get really intimate. It's a lot easier.
They're in Brazil, beautiful women.
Beautiful
men.
The prostituting is skyrocketed because a lot of people who go to watch the Olympics are, businessmen or people with money. Yeah. We have frozen for whatever reason, and I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay. Group sex is a thing. Back in Vancouver, 6 athletes allegedly had group sex in a hot tub, reports ESPN. Some athletes get curfews.
Do you get curfews?
Mm-hmm. They also prohibit alcohol and don't allow them to visit each other's bedrooms.
So then they're allowed to have all this sex, but they're not allowed to like.
Some people, some people are not allowed to, like, the curfews and the not allowed to visit other people's bedrooms is an attempt to curb that.
I see.
Yeah. Let's see. Villagers seem to take a vow of silence. So whatever usually happens in there, they don't really like to talk about it. They just say that there's a lot of sex going on, and that's it. Which is crazy. So yeah, you've gotten me pretty excited about the Summer Olympics, not because of the sex, but because of all the different
not because of the sex.
all the different games. Like, I'd be excited to watch some of that stuff, or at least just have it on in the background and kind of check it out, see how we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't really take a lot of stock. Like, I think it's funny when the Americans win the ice hockey, when the Canadians don't.
Yeah.
I expect us to do really well in basketball and baseball. But, I don't know. My patriotism of winning the Olympics doesn't really, like, get high, or, like, I don't really get, like, confident. Like,
I don't think I do either. I never get, like, really that pumped up about, like, winning. It's like, oh, nice, like, more golds for, like, USA. But I think that's just because of the environment, we're such a huge nation who is like sports mean such a big deal to us. Like we put so much money into sports. Like we train people from in certain sports, like from childhood to be like amazing. Whereas
Absolutely.
other countries and especially smaller countries, like they don't have the numbers of people to like the pool is smaller
Mm-hmm.
and like the finances are never as good to fund these type of sports. So like them winning a gold or like silver or bronze or whatever
That's
is
true.
like huge deal. And I think sometimes we miss that fact just because we're from the U.S. and we're kind of used to like that culture of
But you live in
winning.
you live in Vancouver, so how's
They
the
do they like go ape shit if they
really?
win like yeah like
Wow.
Olympics or like Women's World Cup, like they were like go crazy, like any of that kind of stuff, like they are like die hard
Maybe it's
in love with like everything Canadian.
is it about just like getting out of the shadow of America and being like we're just as good if
Um,
not better and like
I know. I think America's just in a pretty unique position in terms of sporting
hmm,
compared to other countries. Like
yeah.
where, like I said, like the funding and everything is so huge for like almost all sports, and other countries don't have that kind of like finance or personnel.
And that's got to be hard because like it's gonna be how do you catch up, right?
Right? Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I think that's. I think is more than likely is that stuff will catch up, or the U.S. will just drop off more, like as time goes on.
Right. Yeah. I also feel like as a whoa, nope, don't want to do that. I also feel like I put more stock in like NFL and or basketball or baseball, like in our own individual sports rather than the Olympics. Like I definitely have more of a diehard connection to that, and I think most people do. What is happening?
Yeah.
I lost you too. I'm losing everyone.
I'm here, but she's just walking over the keyboard.
And I don't know if that's the general of like for us because again we are unique. We have so many sporting events and organizations within our nation. Whereas there's football in Europe, soccer, right?
Yep.
And they definitely care about that. But that's really it, right? They don't. I think they know the second best would potentially be the Olympics.
Oh yeah. Like
Whereas
the European nations and like I think South African nation, I mean South American and all those like African nations, they're like go ape shit when they win shit in the Olympics.
right,
So.
because they don't have a American Football League and a baseball league and a hockey
Oh
league
yeah,
and a
if they
basketball.
win,
I mean,
yeah, if they won something like that, U.S. is like number one in, then that would be like a huge achievement just because of that,
right, but
gap.
I think the reason why they like the Olympics so much is because they don't have those other teams
Oh
necessarily
yeah, yeah,
be that good. You know what I mean? Like whereas our basketball teams, like we have Kobe Bryant, we have all these stars, so like we are connected more with our individual. Like it's the same reason why we just have more soccer style of like things going on, whereas they just
right,
have soccer.
right.
And then the other interesting about Rio is that the Russians are getting kicked out left and right.
I heard, yeah, for like doping, I guess,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Which is
steroids.
there's a lot of controversy surrounding Rio, like you mentioned with the Zika, and like Rio in general is supposed to be a very dangerous city.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's where the City of God like movie was.
Yeah.
About
Lots of corruption.
the favelas and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
And there was an American city that was up for it, and Brazil ended up winning, and I think it was like Chicago, or I think it was Chicago. Chicago was up for 2016 Olympics.
Oh really?
Yeah, I remember because I was there when they were bidding, and we lost to Brazil, and I figured.
I think it still is a like a kind of like the World Cups is like a financial thing, like they
Right.
bribe essentially.
There's a statistic that I read that actually suggests that the finances of a city go down after hosting the Olympics because of the amount of cleanup and all the like amount of services that you need to do to like restore your city after a ginormous event like that. Financial burden on city. I'm trying to see if I can find some of that. Cost of the Olympic Games, right?
Oh yeah, that's the
Final-
thing is like that's why everybody was so concerned like about the World Cup being in Brazil. Like they built all these brand new stadiums, like state of the art, like so expensive, $1 million stadiums, and Brazil is like having like major financial issues across, like state and government funded programs, and then they're spending all this money on like brand new stadiums that are gonna like basically one they built like out in the middle of the jungle somewhere just for the Olympics,
and then nobody uses it.
And nobody, it's been overtaken by the jungle. It's like literally overgrown at this point.
That is kind of cool.
It's not even maintained.
Wow. So here I have it. Basically, okay, so we can start with the Montreal Olympics, right? Finally, Steve is back. Jesus, get a new computer, dude. Oh, where is he? Steve Landis. It's not showing up. Okay. So here we go. Montreal Olympics, in 1976. Final operating. Oh, my mother of God. Okay. Final operating budget was $207 million. Total costs for it were $1.41 billion. They had a net loss of $990 million.
Like, yeah, how is a nation like Brazil supposed to be like paying for this?
So let's go to Lake Placid Winter Olympics in the United States, 1980, $49 million budget. It cost $169 million. It was a deficit of $8.5 million.
Jesus. That's probably way more ridiculous nowadays.
Now I'll get to that for sure. There are some profits though, and so I guess it really just depends on the people who are creating this. So Los Angeles Summer Olympics, the budget was $320 million. They spent $413 million. They got a net gross of $250 million. So that made money for them. Barcelona.
Where was that one?
That was in Los Angeles in 1984 Summer Olympics.
Interesting.
We can go to something like the Sydney Summer Olympics that was recent in 2000, relatively recent. Budget was $6.6 billion. They had a loss of $2.1 billion. Billion.
Jesus Christ.
Torino 2006 Summer Olympics lost $3.2 million. Beijing actually made $1 billion.
$1 billion?
Yep. Which is $146 million in US.
Wow.
So it's interesting. So really, it does come down to the committee who are setting it up and just being smart about it. I can see, like, for the example that you gave, like, we have, $300 million to spend. We're going to build something in the middle of nowhere and it won't be used again. And that will just basically be a loss in the long run, right? As opposed to a profit that can make them money time over time. So you got to be really efficient with that stuff.